I've had 6 brain surgeries.
So, yeah.
I was in a coma, and then I had an out-of-body experience. And my 4th surgery, that's when I had my near-death experience. I'm on the top of the ceiling, and I'm looking down. I was so scared. I was like, oh my gosh, get back in your body. Get back in your body. Go, go, go. Then I felt a pull, and it pulled me, and then I get sucked into this black hole. And the first thing I felt was love. I see beautiful orbs of light. It kept going. There was no end to how far I could see. But I had forgotten my life on Earth. I just knew I came from Earth. The first thing I said is, wow, my experience on Earth was like the blink of an eye. I hear this voice. It was so clear, and she's like, now it's time to go back.
Welcome to Everyday Esoteric on Esoteric Eddie TV.
What up, everybody? Esoteric Eddie here. Namaste. Today, I have an amazing guest. I've known her for many years, like 6 years now, something like that. But the interesting thing is, all those years that we've known each other, we never hung out physically until last year, late last year. And it was all divine timing. And we've done so many awesome things together since we started hanging out. We've been participating in a lot of healing events, been collaborating as artists, as event coordinators, and all of that. But anyways, we're going to get deep into her story. She's got an amazing story to tell you. She's astral projected. She's left this world, this realm, through near-death experiences and so much more. I'm going to let her tell you that story. Everybody, welcome Roxie.
Hi, how are you? Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. Thank you for doing this.
Yes, thank you.
How are you feeling right now?
Now that you just lit the incense, I'm feeling really nice and calm.
Yeah, we need that. It's full moon right now. It's crazy out there.
Yeah.
We were just talking a little moment ago, like things have been wild.
Yeah, I've been feeling a lot of the chaotic energy around me, and it's made me question myself, what's going on? Am I going crazy? Because normally I'm at peace and I'm calm and I am not triggered as easily. And lately I'm triggered as fuck.
Yeah, you're like, whoa. Yeah.
I was just telling you, I got into it with somebody and I was just like, what is going on? I get along with everybody. So if we're not getting along, it's them.
It's gotta be you.
And then I had to do some internal digging and I'm like, hold on, I also was triggered. So why? You know?
Maybe I shouldn't have called her a bitch. But,
why? It was a he, actually.
Oh, shit. Okay.
But I didn't call him a bitch.
Maybe you should have.
I didn't call any names, actually. That's
just giving them the stink face.
No, more so I speak my truth, but a lot of people consider that as an insult or they just get offended. And I mean, I'm not gonna today I was offended also, you know, and I took things personal, which normally I don't because I know who I am and I'm comfortable and I'm confident. And I am also comfortable and confident with the fact that other people are allowed to have their own perceptions and their own opinions of me. And actually, it's none of my business how they perceive me, right?
Wow.
But today, I was offended, and normally that's not me, and I was triggered, and normally, you can't fuck with my energy in a sense, unless the only ones who can truly get to me, because I care so deeply and passionate are my children. Everybody else, I'm like...
Yeah.
Cool. You're not affecting me.
People are going to think what they want about you anyway. But sometimes you got to step in and be like, actually, your perception of me is very wrong.
Yeah,
this is who I actually am.
Or you got to be like, oh, so you want to see a bitch.
Yeah, for real. Oh, my gosh. And people are crazy. Actually, yesterday, I was trying to merge on the freeway and fucking people get so crazy with traffic and stuff. And I've had to I'm super calm with traffic now because I've been in so many accidents and shit like that.
Gosh,
crazy shit. And so now I'm just calm on the road. If somebody swerves into me or anything, I forgive them instantly. You know what I mean? We're all trying to just do our things in these fucking killing machines, but people get so angry. I barely swerved into this person's lane and they're fucking honking and flipping me off and shit. I literally just smiling at them, just
Yeah.
Hey, have a good day.
Like their road rage comes out, and you're just
it's
like,
hilarious.
I do the same thing.
Yeah,
I'm like,
oh, I saw this thing one time where it's like, if you really want to fuck with somebody, give them a thumbs down. That's what I was doing to this lady. I was just like, well, at first I was doing thumbs up, but like as she kept going, so I'm like, all right, like now you're getting the thumbs down now.
I would do this.
Yeah. Just, oh my God, they get so angry.
How's my driving?
Fucking man.
Oh my gosh.
But yeah, let's get deep into your story though, because you got a lot to share, and we can't even fit it all in this one episode.
No,
so.
we're not gonna. It's not gonna be 4 hours.
No, we're gonna do part 2, 3.
Oh my god,
it's gonna be like The Godfather.
Yeah.
But yeah, real quick though, I think it'd be fun to just tell people how we met.
Okay.
And then go from there.
For sure.
So yeah, we met online years ago. I don't even remember exactly how, but I do know that we met through Instagram.
Yes.
You had a page called Gaia's Sacred Circle.
Yes.
And it was a cool Instagram page where you were just featuring interesting people who had skills and talents to share. And so I think I reached out to you like, hey, I'd like to be a part of this.
Yeah.
And so you made like a little posts for me about me.
Yes.
And I was like, yo, so that's how we first connected.
Yes.
And then we were trying to, sorry, my dog is like trying to get.
Is he all tangled up in my cord?
Oh shit.
I think he's tangled up in my phone.
Your phone down here.
Oh, there it is.
Yeah, if you hear like little noises in the background, it's this fucker.
Oh my god, he's so freaking cute.
Yeah, he's blind.
He needs a little doggy blind stick.
Yeah. That's his tail, right?
That's exactly what it is. Aww.
Yeah, and we tried to hang out, like try to meet up a few times, but it never happened. It's funny. Like I think we tried to meet up, didn't happen, and
for like 5 years, it never happened. And like, so my page in my group was, you know, it was tailored around like spiritual gifts and people who like were in tune spiritually and like wanted to seek other people who were also like in tune spiritually. But it was also like gathering together for nature walks and hiking.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So I actually put a few of them together and it was really cool. And then you and I had made plans to go place. Like we made a plan to go see Jasmine Rose perform in San Diego. The homie Jasmine Rose, we love you. Shout out to Jasmine Rose.
Yeah.
And then Eddie met me in San Diego, but I ended up getting there late. Go you figure, like you know.
We were supposed to meet up, right?
Yeah.
I got there, then I left, and then you got there.
Yes, we missed each other.
We missed each other.
We did.
But yeah.
And then we finally got together. Was it August? When was that mixer or not mixer? What was it? The gathering.
The cult gathering.
It was a flipping cult.
Yeah. Let's tell that story real quick, and then we'll get deep
That's
into
the first time we finally connected, like after 5 years of having a friendship on social media.
I took her to a cult. I had to test your vibe. I had to check your vibe.
Yes.
She down for the cult or what?
Did I pass?
Oh, yeah. No, so what happened is I went to the Archaics Expo. I have a video of that on my channel. And then at the Archaics Expo, there was a clipboard being passed around for people who were in San Diego who wanted to keep meeting up and having these like political, spiritual meetups. And so I thought that would be the perfect event for us to actually hang out for the first time. Like, yo, this is this thing going on. Like, let's go hang out. Let's go check it out.
Yes.
And so we did. We finally met up, but it ended up being pretty funny and kind of a mess. So I didn't know these people. I didn't know these people at all. So this was like a first time thing for me as well. So we were already kind of like meeting up for the first time. So that was a little, I wouldn't say like awkward.
There was just a lot of dynamics happening.
Yeah, a lot of dynamic.
Like, for the first times, you know, a lot of first times in one night.
Yeah, exactly. We're meeting up for the first time. We go to this event. I don't know them. You don't know them.
Yeah.
And the funny thing is that they were all like diehard Archaics fans, and they all loved Jason Brashears. And he's a cool dude, but like I'm not like a huge fan of him, you know. Like, but these people were like diehard fans.
I didn't know who the heck he was.
Yeah.
I looked at you. I was like, "Who in the fuck's Jason?"
Yeah, because they were all talking about Jason.
I know. Like, is he
it was
making
super
a special
culty.
appearance tonight?
They're like, Jason would say this. Jason would do that.
I know.
I felt so weird. Like, oh my god, fuck.
Yeah. Well, like I seen Eddie post up about him going to that event, and then that he was going to go to another one in Fallbrook. So I hit him up and I was like, oh my gosh, like, wow, near-death experiences. Like, I would love to go. Like, I want to connect with people, other people that have had near-death experiences and that are like, you know, into all of that stuff. Like, that'd be cool. So he was like, yeah, that's cool. I thought of you too. Like, let's go. So I was like, okay, great. We planned it. We're heading out. We're driving together. We're driving out to Fallbrook. And then I had an idea that it was like an expo type convention thing.
Yeah, you thought it was gonna be like a big thing.
I thought it was like, like a convention and like, you know, everyone was just coming together and there was going to be like speakers and stuff. Like I had a whole different idea. So we're driving up to Fallbrook and then I just like looked at him and I was like, so is this like outside? Because we're driving like towards houses.
Yeah,
like
a neighborhood.
So I was like, where is this at? Is this outside or what? And he's just like, no, it's at somebody's house. And I was just like, someone's house? And he's like, yeah. And I'm like, Eddie, where did you find this event? He's like, oh, on Meetups.
Yeah. You're like, what the fuck?
And I was like, Eddie, are you taking me to a fucking cult?
Like, kind of.
Oh
and it was
God.
super cult vibes, dude.
It was
like,
such cult vibes.
Yeah, and they were all, I mean, not to be rude, but like significantly older, at least than me. I don't know. And so it was just like, just an older group of people, you know, and they're just all super about Jason.
Yeah. Well, you wanted to go because it was going to help you like hear people out, so maybe you can get like some interviews or whatever.
Yeah.
You know
I love that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
To sit
So
down and
I
hear
totally
stories.
get that. Like I get that. But for me, I was just like, this is real. We're going to some strange person's house.
Yeah.
Like who, God knows what's going to happen, you know?
Yeah. And she was trying to get us to drink cacao, and you'd never had cacao.
I never had cacao.
So you're kind of freaking out about that. You're like, no, I'm okay. I don't want to drink that shit.
No way. I was like, no way. We're gonna all pass out and then wake up. I'm not gonna know what the fuck happened to me.
I was over there eating all the
drunk.
snacks, drinking everything. I love snacking. I'm just eating, drinking everything. Like, fuck it, whatever.
It was so funny.
Yeah.
We had a little code though. I told him, I was like, look, fine, let's go in there. And if I'm ready to leave, like, I'm going to let you know I'm ready.
Yeah.
And he's like, okay, that's fine. So we're sitting there and then the host comes out and she's like, I don't know. She just starts talking about like, she's going to hand us a worksheet, a 15-minute worksheet.
Yeah.
And I look at Eddie like, I'm not trying to fucking do a 15-minute worksheet.
No homework. Like, what the?
Like, where am I? And then, so I finally just texted him. Well, I wrote on my phone, like, let's get the fuck out of here.
Yeah, that shit was hilarious.
And I didn't want to send it.
You're sitting there all quiet, just texting. And
I didn't want to send it. So
quietly,
I just showed it to him.
he just showed it to me all quiet.
And he was like, oh, really? Like, now? And I'm like, yes, fucking
You literally said, it said, this is fucking boring, let's leave.
I was like, let's
okay.
dip.
Yeah.
And then he literally tells me, is it okay if I have some snacks first?
Yeah.
Like,
gotta
go
have
and
the
eat your
snacks, dude.
fucking snacks.
Gotta have the snacks. Fucking.
Oh my God.
You got bulk, baby.
Too much.
24/7. So we were trying to leave, and then she was like trying to get us to stay, and then she ended up getting us to stay a little longer so that you could share your story.
She wanted me to, because we were like, we walked up to her and you're like, thank you so much for having us, but she's got to go. And you didn't know what to tell her.
Yeah.
And then she was like, oh my gosh, is everything okay? It's like, yeah, she just has to leave. And I was like, actually, this is just not for me. And then Eddie was just like, oh my God.
Shit. Yeah.
Like, I'm just so blunt and straight out, you know?
Yeah,
like, I wasn't
that.
trying to be rude.
Yeah.
I'm just being honest.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, yeah, actually, this is just not for me. And I was like, I thought it would be, but like, it's not. And like, it's time. I want to go.
Yeah.
And then I'm like, but thank you for everything.
Yeah. Thank you for all this boring ass shit.
I'm like, what the fuck is this?
Rape snacks. Whatever
I'm like,
fuck.
trying to drug us and rape us. No, thank you.
No, yeah. And then she ended up kind of like getting your story out of you a little bit.
Yeah.
And then I never even heard that story. And so she's like, oh, you got to stay
That was your
here.
first time.
Yeah, that was my first time hearing your story. A lot of first time things.
Yeah.
And so you're like, okay, fine. You agree to stay like 15 minutes longer just to share your story because you thought that it would be beneficial to everybody to hear it. So with that being said, let's get into it.
Yeah.
So real quick, just briefly tell people you know, like what it is that you do, because you do a lot of different things. You're a
Okay.
music manager. What are all the different things that you do right
Whew.
now?
Okay. So besides being a mom at home,
How many kids?
I have 4 boys.
Wow.
2 of them are already adults. They're 24 and 22. And then I also have a 17-and-a-half-year-old and then my 9-year-old. Yeah. And I have a grandbaby, a little girl, a 1-year-old. Yeah.
Damn.
Like I'm a young everything. I was a young mom. So yeah, it only makes sense that I would be a young grandma, you know?
Yeah.
So I am right now currently going to school. I'm taking 3 classes online for business. I've been going to school for business for about a year and a half. But I've had a year worth of consistently going.
Yeah.
Not consistently. I guess if you add it all up.
Yeah.
It was all spread out. Because last year, I took off the entire 2023. I didn't go. I needed that break.
Yeah.
Because
we'll just skip that one.
Yeah.
Just
But that year, exactly. So I'm taking 3 classes online for business. And then I'm actually, I manage a pole studio for pole fitness. And I dance there as well, of course. And I started actually music managing 4 girls that are local artists. And I mean, this is all new to all of us. So we're all just going with it.
Yeah.
And everything is just aligning, which is insane. It's crazy. I feel like we all just have this vision, you know, and we all just came together and universe is just making things just happen.
Yeah.
Everything's so effortless, you know?
Yeah. It's time. The 5D shift is happening. So it's people who have been awoke are finally lining up together.
Yes.
You know, like us.
Yes. Yeah, you know? Exactly. And and a lot of it too is a lot of people probably perceive of these kind of things happening overnight, but it's not. These are foundations that we've set. You know, that we've made for ourselves. And we've done a lot of work to get to where we are, but we didn't know where we were going at the time. We were just guided, you know, and now we're here. And so that's why, because we aligned with where we're supposed to be, everything is literally falling on our lap.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Quite literally.
It literally is effortless. I literally, because I just recently, these girls, they needed a music producer. And I'm okay. And they know of a few, right? And that can get expensive. And I was just we need to find our own music producer. Lo and behold, we found a music producer who has their bachelor's degree in audio engineer.
What?
Yeah. And I aligned with him. And it's insane because it's we're all working, we're all working together.
Yeah.
And it's we're all basically, you know, it's basically teamwork makes the dream work.
Yeah,
you know,
for real, yeah.
Literally, that's what it is. We're all here to support each other. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
To get to where we want to be, and a lot of where we want to be is it's just passion. It's passion driven.
Yeah.
Right. And so I think that's also why everything's aligning so effortlessly, because everyone's just following their hearts. Right.
Follow your heart. Yep.
It's so important to follow our heart. It really truly is. Because if we're doing something that we don't truly align with, a lot of people go to college, right? And it's they want to just get the job because they're just well, this is going to make me, you know, so much money. And then their hearts are not completely into it. And a lot of people that I know have gone to college are not even doing what they went to school for.
Dude, same. Yeah, I went to college for 3 years and just walked away. Never looked back.
Yeah.
I was going to school to be a history teacher.
What?
Yeah,
I love history, by the way.
Oh yeah, I fucking love history. I mean, I still do that with what I do on content and stuff. But yeah, I just walked away and then became a fucking plumber. You know, so it's the funny thing is every single plan that I've had in life never actually worked out. Yeah. For better or for worse. Yeah. But it's still good to have a plan, because having the plan puts you in a direction.
Very true.
It puts you in a direction, and then at least you're going somewhere, and then you start to meet new people and new experiences along that way, and you're like, oh, I guess I'm going this way instead.
Yes.
You know, I'm not going to be a teacher, I'm going to be a plumber, but it's still it's better.
But on your path and everywhere you've been, where you are now, like, I bet you look back and you make all the connections
Mm-hmm.
of
Oh,
why
yeah.
you did all those things, right?
Oh, yeah. And the crazy thing is, I didn't even know this till like my second year of plumbing. I never knew that my grandpa on my dad's side was a plumber.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, I never knew that. Like, I never thought to ask my
Wow.
dad what my grandpa did. I just,
Wow. Okay.
yeah. So it's like in me.
Yes.
Yeah, it's funny. My tia,
The
she calls me.
skills are in your DNA.
Yeah, for real. My tia, she calls me Chewy or El Chew because his name was Chewy.
Mhm.
So she calls me like mini Chewy.
Oh, how cute.
El Chucano.
Oh, you're your
Yeah.
little G-pa.
Yeah. I'm like the mini me because I'm the plumber, dude.
You're
But,
taking on like his legacy in a way, like,
yeah,
yeah,
it's pretty badass.
that's awesome. And now you have your own business.
Yeah.
Yeah. And you helped my friend's boyfriend
Yeah.
with a job, making good money. Like,
Yeah.
oh my God, that was
That's another one of
amazing.
these serendipities too. Like we've had so many synchronicities just being friends. Like it was crazy. So I met young T a few months ago. You invited me to go to this real quick. Trust me, we're going to get deep into some crazy stuff. So if
Yeah.
you're still listening, trust me, be patient. This is going to be insane. We're going to get into her near-death experiences and so much more. But I do want to tell the story because, again, it's more testament to like just how much alignment we've had.
Mm-hmm.
So you invited me to this ganja event.
Yeah.
And to be honest, that night, I was like not feeling it. I was not feeling like going out or anything. But right now, this is the time to follow your heart.
Yes.
You know, and so I was like, something's telling me to just go.
Just go.
Just go. I was like, all right, so I'm gonna go. So I went, and I went for my only intention was to be there, just to be there, to hold space, to provide my energy, provide my services.
You were supporting. Yes.
Yeah. And then, and that same day, I just landed a big job, and again, I was on the phone with the customer, and I was like, yeah, I can do it. But in my head, I was like, dude, there's no fucking way I'm going to get this job done by myself. But I didn't. I wanted to get the job regardless.
And that's the same day, huh?
Yeah,
right? Oh
yeah. I was following my heart. I was like, dude, just get the job. We'll figure it out later.
Yeah.
I had a couple of days to figure out how I was going to get the extra help. So I landed the job, and that same night, I went to go meet up with you, and then I meet T, who was our friend Sierra's boyfriend.
Yes.
And we're talking, whatever, and he's like, yeah, I just started plumbing. I'm trying to get some more plumbing work. And I'm like,
what?
Well, lucky for you and lucky for me.
Yeah, and he needed a job.
Yeah.
Like, it was insane.
Dude, yeah. So I hired him for that week, and I was able to help him out, and he's like my part-time apprentice now. So
yeah, and it's just like, those are the divine alignments. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's crazy. And that's why it's so important to follow our heart. And what I always say, like, I was guided to do this, or I was guided to do that, or I'm guided. And when I say that, what I mean by I'm guided by the heart, because when you're guided by the heart, you're tapped into, like, I say, a higher source. I say something that is deep inside of me, like an inner intuition that just knows, and it feels right? Like in your gut feeling, and it just feels right. So I'm guided by that. And for me, I do call it a higher power. You know, everyone can perceive, you know, a higher, they can call it their higher self, or they can call it God, or they can call it whatever that higher power is for them. Yeah. You know, and I am divinely guided, just like you are, you know?
I call it God. I mean, I was raised Christian, so like everything in my mind is default Christian.
Yes.
But obviously, y'all know I'm not like a strict institutionalized Christian.
No,
it's just default that way. The way I think about it is default that way.
It's like foundation, like the way that you connect.
Exactly, God, source, the creator, and also my higher self too. That's one that I've been slowly connecting with more so, is my higher self. Like because a lot of times that voice for me, it's like it is my own self.
Yes.
Because we know ourselves better than anybody, and we know what's good for us, what's bad for us.
Exactly.
And so when I'm doing something that I know is not bad for me, like I'm in my mind like, bro, what are you doing?
You
like,
feel that intuition.
You already know this is going to be fucking horrible later, you know?
Yeah.
And I'm just like, shh, it's all good. It's all good.
You're like, I'm doing it anyway.
Yeah. So it's funny, like literally like the highest self is in there in the subconscious mind. And it's like this weird avatar archetype spirit in us.
Yeah.
And it's just like
it's an overlord.
Yeah, it's just chilling there, like I don't know. I always picture mine with like sunglasses on for some reason.
Oh my god.
He's just
That's
like
where you get
floating.
your like chill vibes from.
Yeah, he's just like a chill dude, just like floating.
That's awesome.
Yeah. But yeah, and anyway, your intuition, you have a fucking extraordinary intuition.
It's insane, and you know what? Lately, it's getting a lot more. Oh man,
Dude, all right, let's tell these stories real quick, because
yeah.
tell us a story about the car crash intuition that you had. Where you
Oh,
saw the car
okay.
crash.
Yeah. So when I was younger, I started noticing that like I was actually having visions, but not knowing they were visions. But also knowing that they weren't dreams. It was
Yeah.
just weird, like I didn't know how to perceive it back then. I never had visions. So, but my grandma, she brought to my attention, like, Mija, that's a vision.
Yeah.
And I was just like, what? And me being so young, I'm like, I can't have visions, right? So one of my visions, and I've had so many now, but when I was younger, one of my visions is I was laying in bed, and then it was like dark, but I can still see in the room. And I look towards the wall, and the next thing you know, like, and I'm wide awake. I see a big hole in the wall, and I could see outside. And it was so real that like I could like feel, like, I guess you can say, the air coming in as well. Like,
wow.
It was just such a kind of vision, which is insane. And I see this big, huge hole in the wall, and I can see outside. And then I saw blood like around the wall and on my bed. And at the time, my son's father, he was laying on that side where the wall was.
Yeah.
And he was covered in blood.
Damn.
Because first I noticed the hole, and I was like, what the heck? And then I looked down. I saw the blood, and then I looked down, and it was all over where he was laying. And I screamed. I was just like freaking out, right?
Yeah.
And then he jumps up, scared shitless.
It's like, what's going on?
What? And he's out of his sleep. And I look at him, and I'm like, I thought I was fucking crazy, because I was not sleeping. I was awake. I was sitting up awake.
There's a fucking hole in your wall.
Exactly. And then all of a sudden he just jumps out of nowhere. He's just like, what's going on? And I look at the wall, and like, there's no hole. And I'm like, oh my gosh. I was like, I just seen a hole right now, and there was blood everywhere, and it was covering you. He's like, you were dreaming. I was like, I haven't even been asleep. Like, I was up, and I had a newborn at the time. And so I was tending to my newborn, And so I was like wide awake. And he's just like, everything's fine. Go back to bed. And then in the morning, like, I told my mom and I told my grandma what happened. And then my grandma was like, oh my gosh, Mija, that was a vision.
Yeah.
And like, she was explaining to me what that was. And then she's Christian, and, she's religious. So she's like, Mija, we're going to pray about that right now. Well, that night, that freaking night, a drunk driver knocked the freaking fence down. And the only thing that prevented that drunk driver's car from flying into our house, which was literally the wall where we sleep, was the fact that he ran into the big tree that was in front of my front of my house. Yeah. So if it wasn't for that tree, because it was like off of kind of like this bankment, and he would have just he knocked down the entire fence, and it's just a wood fence. He would have flew literally into the wall. And so my grandma was just like, that's what I'm saying, Mija. That's what I mean. That was a vision. Like, you've seen it happening.
So you saw it, and you felt it.
Yes. And she believes, because she prayed about it, and we prayed about it, that we were able to like change the outcome.
Wow. Change the timeline.
Exactly. Through her belief. And like, and now through my journey, I see that's kind of like, that's manifestation. That's quantum physics, right?
Yeah.
Like, I don't know. It's just crazy. Like, we can alchemize. It's just like I'm learning more and more, like, now that I'm older.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was like one
one of them. You've had a bunch. That one I always thought was really wild. Like, fuck, dude. Like, you literally saw it, and it happened.
Yeah.
But you changed the timeline. So let's go back. So obviously your grandma played a huge role, I'm assuming,
Very much so.
in your spiritual
Yes.
powers and awakening.
Yes.
How far back does that go for you?
So as far as I can remember, I've always had my grandma by my side since, I mean, you can say since I was born, pretty much. We've always lived with her, like, you know, on and off. And then when my grandpa passed away, I was probably about, gosh, no older than like anywhere between like 5, 6, 7. And then my parents came in, you know, to be with her.
Yeah.
And so I pretty much have always lived with my grandma. And so she was very religious, would go to church every Sunday, was reading her Bible every day. And being little, like my parents never took me to church. So every now and then I would go with her and my grandpa before he passed away. So this was like at 5 years old.
Going to church every day.
Well, not every day, every Sunday.
Every Sunday.
Did I say every day?
I don't know if you did or not.
I meant every Sunday.
Every Sunday.
Yeah. And so I wouldn't go to church all the time because I would only go with them. And then as I got older, I never went to church. And my grandma, she would just tell me, like,
I was like the first. When I was a kid, I was like the very first thing I do when I grow up is I'm not going to church anymore. Like,
were you? Oh, so you were like made to go?
Yeah,
by your parents?
Sunday.
Oh, okay.
Oh my god.
Well, I didn't. My parents didn't go for me being so young. It was a fun thing to do because I would go with my grandma and grandpa, and then we would go out to eat afterwards. And we would go to Rincon, which is in Valley Center, and then we would drive here to Vista, and then Coco's. I don't know what it was before, but there used to be this big. It was Big Boys. There was this.
Oh yeah.
And I remember the restaurant. They had this like huge statue, and he was called Big Boy.
Yeah.
I don't know if you remember that.
I
like he
do
was like holding a tray or something.
It was there though?
Yes. It was where Coco's was.
Wow.
Yeah.
I vaguely remember that.
Yeah. So we would go there and we would eat. So to me, being a kid, like that was all fun for me.
Yeah.
And then going to church as a kid, I would play with all my cousins that lived in Valley Center because that's where they grew up.
Yeah.
And we would be like, you know, in the room with all the kids. So that was fun for me. Going to church was fun.
Jeez.
But as I got older,
nerd.
I didn't go anymore. But my grandma taught me, Mija, you don't have to go to church.
Yeah.
God is in your heart. And
Beautiful.
church is in your heart. So anytime you want to go to God and you feel like you need someone to talk to, if you're angry or you're sad or you just are feeling lonely, or if you just want someone to talk to, go into your heart because that's where your church is and talk to God. God is always with you. God lives in your heart. So she taught me that as a child. So because of that, I learned how to have a connection with God.
That's powerful.
Yeah.
That's an amazing message to give somebody, a young person too. That's something that I learned for myself too. I might have mentioned this to you before, but I've had friends kind of like come to me and ask me for spiritual advice. One friend in particular asked me, you know, like, hey, is it bad to wear crosses or whatever? I'm like, dude, it all has to do with your intention. You know, whatever intention you put in these things, that's the main thing. But you should know that ultimately no physical thing is going to save you. What's going to save you is the cross in your heart.
Yes.
And that's what I have. I don't need a cross. Sure, you can rock it. It doesn't mean you're going to go to hell or whatever.
Yeah.
You can rock a cross. You can rock a shirt that says Jesus is cool or whatever. But the cross inside, as your grandma was saying, is the more important thing.
Yeah. And that's what she taught me. So, and I'm happy she taught me that because it's like, I always knew that I didn't need to go to church. And then as I got older and I was able to take myself to church, I was old enough to like see things. Yeah. And I'd be like, what in the fuck is this?
Yeah, like, hold up.
This is not the church I envisioned in my heart.
Yeah, y'all are passing this money basket around too much.
This is like, like I don't see the connection to God here. Yeah. You know?
Same. Yeah. And I noticed that as a young person. That's why I never really liked it. I'm like, dude, this is so weird and phony and like, you know.
Even like the pastors are like, they'd be up there and I feel like they were trying to sell a car.
Mm-hmm.
And then it's just like, you're trying to sell God.
Yeah.
Like, at the end of the day, like, you're
Right.
trying to sell God. Why? What are you trying to sell? Oh, I know why. Because if you keep people interested in coming, they're going to keep giving you their money.
Yeah. Well, being a pastor is a job.
Yes.
It's a job.
Mhm.
And that's why every church is basically the same, because they go to preacher school, pastor school, whatever it's called.
Yeah.
And they teach all these guys the same exact system. It's the same exact system. Turn the music up, get them crying. Once they're crying, pass the basket around. Okay, dim the lights.
Create an ambience.
Exactly. Yeah. And I know because when I started dating my ex-wife back in high school, her parents were strict Christians. They went 2 to 3 times a week. And it was one of the requirements for me to go to church with them every Sunday and every Wednesday for 2 years.
Oh my God.
For 2 years. And I was so involved, I became the sound engineer. So I started going early. I'd have to skate from San Marcos to Vista.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, I would skate there. And I'd get there like...
You were dedicated.
I was dedicated to that girl. That's real love.
Right?
Yeah. But... yeah, so I'd skate there. I'd get there like an hour early before everybody and help set up the sound.
Yeah.
But I love that because I got to be in the back.
Mm-hmm.
So I got to be in the back now, just chilling.
Oh, you got to create everything. You got to create the experience.
Well, I was the sound. I worked on the soundboard, so if they needed something up or down, I was just right there, like, all right. They always be like, I'm like, God damn. Oh my gosh. Like, just always up, down, up, down.
Wow. You're like, that's where my anxiety was created.
Yeah. But so I got to see it all, and it was some bad things happened in that church. There were some predators, some scandalous infidelity going on, and a lot of people lost faith in the pastor and left, and it was craziness. So I've known like the institution of it is just, to me, it's ridiculous.
Yeah.
But I do want to share one thing real quick, and we'll get back to your story because it's a beautiful thing. I remember my grandma. Hey, Blade, don't go over there. Come on.
Come here, Blade.
Come back.
Come here, baby. Come here.
Okay, so my grandma on my dad's side, who played a huge role in our artistic side, she passed away on Mother's Day, and I was at church working the soundboard on Mother's Day when I got the text from my sister. It was such a magical and beautiful moment because,
oh my God,
yeah, it was Mother's Day and they were all singing songs about moms and everything. So I'm sitting there like hearing these beautiful women sing about moms and mothers, and then I get the text, like grandma passed away, and
I forget how goosebumps right now because I know you're going to tell me something.
Yeah, immediately just broke down.
Yeah,
it just broke down. I couldn't hold it back. It just fell down, broke down, and was just sobbing But it was. There couldn't have been any better place to have taken that and received that than that moment. Despite all the craziness there, there was a lot of love from the people that were there for the right reasons, mostly the women. So to feel that, oh my gosh, goodbye, Grandma, fucking love you. And it's just the energy was just so strong.
I have goosebumps.
Yeah. But
that's amazing.
Yeah. So when you're in it for the right reasons,
powerful
things can happen.
Like you said, it's like your intentions. It's where your heart is at. I mean, not everybody that goes to church is like a phony. People are truly there, but we have to be there, and we have to show up, not just to church, but to show up every day when we wake up and get out of our bed, mind, heart, body, and spirit. Everything needs to align. So church is there are people that do hide behind God, though, unfortunately, and I've seen that, and I'm sure you've seen that too. Like you said, you saw things happen there. Yeah. I feel like church is like a rehab almost. Like for me, you're not meant to just stay there. It's a nice place to start. You start there.
Your connection with God, and then branch out.
Yeah.
But people they think that God's only there on Sunday.
God is everywhere.
Yeah.
God is everywhere. Literally. Go take a nature walk, or when we sit down, and we're like, it's amazing when we can connect with God through other people. Like that is the most beautiful. Like that's literally, I believe, like was intended for us to make that connection through one another.
Oh,
You
yeah.
know, we're all connected.
It's the best thing about life is other
Yeah.
people, and also the most annoying thing about life is other people.
Yeah, very true. Yes, very true. And that's where grace comes in.
Yes, the grace of God. God, why did you make this motherfucker like this?
Right? That's where
Damn.
compassion comes in.
Yeah, to teach
That's
you
where
compassion.
patience comes in.
Exactly. Yeah.
That's where unconditional love comes in, right? Because
Oh,
we don't need to like keep ourselves around toxic people just because we love them. You know, we can love them and still be like, stay over there.
Yeah, just FaceTime me, okay?
Right? Seriously.
Oh my gosh.
You work on your relationship.
For real, dude.
Oh my God.
Gosh. Yeah, I'm just thinking about all the people I've had to cut off, and my heart still goes out to them, you know, but
Yes.
it's actually better for them to cut them off sometimes, you know, so they have to learn.
No,
But,
it's true. I mean, at the end of the day, like we are on our own journeys. And like I like to always say, like, we were born into this world by ourselves, unless you have a freaking twin or triplet or like quadruplet siblings, you know what I'm saying? Like, and you're probably not going out together. But I always say, like, you come into this world in your own journey, right? And like we're just all walking alongside one another, but we're leaving this planet at the end of the day by ourselves. And this is our journey. You know, like as long as like we tune into our hearts, and I believe as long as we have a relationship with creator or a higher power or whatever connects, for me, I'm just like, it's love.
Yeah.
I perceive it as love. And the reason why I do so even more, and I feel confirmation in that, is through my own experience because of my near-death experience, which confirmed what love means for me.
Well, let's get into it. So how many have you had? How many?
I've had 6 brain surgeries.
So you've had 6 brain surgeries, and those brain surgeries have resulted in how many near-death experiences?
I've had only 1 near-death experience. However, I have had the first, I would say, 3 brain surgeries. They were consecutive.
Okay.
And in the first 3, I had, I was in a coma. And then I had an out-of-body experience in that coma.
Okay, so you had an out-of-body experience in that coma.
Yes.
Okay.
And I had during the coma, I had an out-of-body experience.
Yeah.
And that was the first 3. And then on the 4th brain surgery, that's when I had my near-death experience.
Okay, let's walk it back. So I know people are going to be asking, why did you have to have these brain surgeries?
Yes. So when I was pregnant with my teenager, who is 17, well, he's 17 and a half, one of the risks of pregnancy are DVT, which is deep vein thrombosis. It happens to be blood clots, because when a woman is pregnant, they produce excess estrogen, and estrogen is actually causes blood clot formation. Wow. So being pregnant, there are risks naturally, and one of them is blood clots. So I ended up getting blood clots in my leg. And I didn't know how dangerous those were until it happened to me. So the thing with blood clots is they travel to your heart or to your brain and they explode. And what's so dangerous about it is there's no telling how long it will take a blood clot to travel. It can take hours. It can take days or months or years. Wow. So it's just important to like tend to that like right away. Yeah. And in today's day and age, they use blood thinner. Yeah. Right? Like Coumadin or
niacin or something.
Yeah, something to like thin your blood. So they put me on blood thinner, and I was pregnant at the time. So it was like a low dose. But after I had my son, I was on a heavier dose. And a risk, because there's a risk with all medications, right?
Big pharma medication.
Exactly. Yeah. A risk of blood thinner is if you have an injury, like even if I bumped my arm and it wasn't that much, I can internally bleed. Oh my God. I can have a bruise and it can cause a hematoma.
Fuck.
Yeah. Well,
you bump your big toe, you're like, looks like I'm dying today.
Exactly. Jeez. Like you can have a hematoma just from like, because you're on blood thinner, and so you're just internally bleeding from a minor bump or a bruise from the blood thinner. Well, I happened to bump my head.
Of course.
Well, I'm clumsy anyways. Yeah. But anyway, because of that, blood leaked into the ventricle of my brain.
Mm.
And I felt the symptoms of that right away.
Well, what does that feel like?
It felt for me like first everything like honestly felt like I was drunk. My vision was blurred. My gait was off, so I couldn't stand or walk and have great balance. I was slurring. And then before I knew it, I wasn't even able to like say words without forgetting on how to say them and what to say.
That's freaky.
Yeah, by the time I got to the hospital and by the time I had my CAT scan, I was already slipping into a coma. So
Damn.
by bumping my head and being on blood thinner, blood leaked to the ventricle of my brain. And then the ventricle enlarged because blood got in the ventricle, and the ventricle is where our spinal fluid flows from our spine to the ventricle of our brain, which I learned from talking to you that, you know, like
the CSF,
yeah,
the cerebral spinal fluid.
I knew it was cerebral spinal fluid, but I learned that's where our Kundalini travels.
Exactly.
And I didn't know that till I had a conversation with you, and I was just like, this all makes sense why I have outer body experiences and I can astral project.
Yeah, you literally
something happened there.
You bumped that Kundalini up.
Seriously.
You know? Yeah.
So I had to have emergency brain surgery. They had to put a catheter device in the ventricle of my brain. So yes, they had to shave. They shaved under my head.
Yeah. And
like, my last brain surgery was in September, but I mean, my hair is growing back.
Yeah. Wow, yeah.
But I have a scar
right there.
Can you see the scar?
The scar? Oh, yeah, wow.
Yeah.
Pretty big.
It's a huge scar. And I have one on this side, too.
What?
So, anyway, there's a device in the ventricle of my brain, which is known as a VP shunt, which is the ventricle peritoneal catheter, and what it does is it drains excess fluid from the ventricle of my brain, and then it drains it in a tube all the way down into my stomach. Whoa. So that's where the excess fluid goes.
Is that like a tube coming out of your head into your stomach?
Exactly. Inside. Like everything's
inside. What?
Yeah, nothing's on the outside. Everything's closed up.
Okay.
There's no holes opened up.
I was just picturing like they're just shoving a hose here and like, shove it in here. Come on, get that blood in there.
Well, I mean, brain surgery is crazy. Yeah. I have never watched brain surgery happen on TV, but I have people tell me like, because of you, I searched brain surgery. Oh my God, that happened to you. That's crazy. And I'm still like, I've never seen it. I don't care to. Like, it happened to me. Like,
I don't want to see it.
Yeah, I don't want to see what happened to me. I know what happened to me. Like, I just don't want to see what happened to me.
Yeah. Oh, man. So you're being rushed to the hospital. They're doing all this stuff on your brain.
I had brain surgery. And then we get to my fourth, the near-death experience.
Well, hold up. Let's unpack this coma a little more. So you ended up having a coma.
So in the first 3 consecutive brain surgeries, because the reason why there was 3 is the first brain surgery, they put the device in and they put it on my right side. And then when I went home, because of the hospital, I went home with staph infection.
Oh.
So now I have an infection in my brain. So, which is really bad. Like, you don't want an infection in your brain.
How do you clean that out? Yeah.
You need antibiotics. But what kind? Well, you got to culture the bacteria and see what kind you need. It takes a little while. So by then, they're just playing, like guessing games on what kind of antibiotic I may need.
Here, just take this one.
Until the cultures come back, right? Yeah. So I went into a coma because the first antibiotics they gave me didn't work. And then the second one I was allergic to. So I slipped into a coma because time's passing here.
Yeah.
And then I was in a coma for 3 days.
Whoa.
Yeah.
3 days, like Jesus.
Well, I had an outer body experience in that time because I remember people sitting in my room and they were all like gathered around me. And like my mom had told me, oh my gosh, we were so scared when I woke up. Like they wanted us to say goodbye to you. Because I slipped into a coma, my heart rate dropped, my breathing declined, my blood pressure was low, and I was dying. I was slipping away.
The doctors thought you were like gonna die.
Yeah, so they told my mom, you might want to have your family come and say goodbye to her because we don't know if she's going to come back.
The doctors just like, yeah, we might have killed your daughter.
Oh my God. Yeah, literally.
Yeah, sorry.
No, they would be rich right now. Sorry, guys. I'm still here.
Yeah. Fuckers didn't get her this time. But that's crazy. Yeah, so it's wild now that I'm thinking about it because, yeah, you literally like forcibly woke up your Kundalini,
Yeah.
you know, and had these out-of-body experiences, and you were dead for 3 days, basically, which is very symbolic.
That's crazy. I know. I'm Jesus in the flesh.
Jesus Cena, the girl version.
Seriously.
Jesusina.
Josefina.
Hey, okay.
Josefina. How funny.
But no, because even in the other tales, like Horus, I think there's a tale where Horus dies for 3 days too. So like, it's very symbolic. This 3-day thing.
Wow, that's insane because I can see the symbolism in that.
Yeah,
that is very true.
I just made a video on Prodigy. Sorry, I'm kind of like slurring today. I had a crazy night last night, so I'm like, my brain's trying to catch up.
Yeah.
But yeah, I had a crazy night. Just thinking about it. So
I'm like, that's going to be in part 2. We'll talk about it.
Oh shit. Okay. What was I saying? Oh no, yeah, I just made a video about Prodigy of Mobb Deep and how his life was. When you look at his entire life from beginning to end, you can tell, you can see that God chose him. You can see that God chose him to live that specific life, to go through the specific trials and tribulations that he had to go through, to have his awakening, to have his great remembrance. And it's powerful. I love studying people's lives, people who have already passed away, because you get to see it. You get to see the full spectrum of how God worked in their life.
Yes.
And so one day, I mean, your story is still being told.
Yes.
And you're probably destined for so much more awesome stuff. But one day when, you know, you transcend to the more cooler realms, somebody will look at your story and be like, oh shit, this is the point where her soul woke up. And literally went through like crazy awakenings.
It's insane. It really is. And you know what now? Well, I mean, I can probably we'll get there, but I just did Kriya initiation.
Dude. Fuck yeah. Hold on. We'll get there.
We'll get there.
Because that's a whole nother thing with serendipity. Like how we met Sundari and everything.
Yes.
Yeah.
And then come to find out, which, a whole nother divine alignment between us because of the fact that I met Sundari. And where I am in my life right now, I was guided to do the Kriya initiation because that's the next stage of my spiritual journey.
Yeah.
Which is crazy.
To become the teacher now, the healer.
That's insane.
Okay, so the coma, we'll get there. So the coma, you have the coma. Anything else you want to say about the coma before we talk about
Okay, so no, that was pretty much the experience there. That was my first outer body experience. I wouldn't say first, actually.
So what was it? I don't think you told them. So what was the actual out-of-body experience?
Oh, so I just, I seen everybody in the room sitting around me, and I heard their conversations. I knew what they were talking about.
Wow.
Yeah.
So when you came back, you told them, you were like...
Yeah.
I heard you guys talking shit.
Yes. I know. No. I told them what I seen and what I heard. And then my mom was just like, wait, you were in a coma. And I'm like, no, I seen it. I heard it.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. Man. Actually, that was not my first out-of-body experience, though. That was my first outer-body experience that I had, that I looked into and realized, oh, that was an outer-body experience. Yeah. But after that, I realized I had an outer-body experience when I was a teenager. And I didn't know what that was then either.
How did that one come about?
So during that time, my friend, rest in peace, Andy Sanchez, he hung himself.
Oh, wow.
But what's crazy about that is the night that it happened, his room is very distinct and it's very unique because his room had drywall and it wasn't plastered yet or painted. It just had the drywall and the taping.
Okay,
yeah. And I know about drywall because my dad, so I know it It was just drywall and taping.
Your dad, dude.
Yeah.
I just remember. Yeah, he's an interesting guy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes, he is. Yes. I'm like, we need to come and you need to interview him.
Yeah. Yeah, we'll talk a little bit about him if we can towards the end.
Yes, yes.
But yeah, I remember this story too. This is a crazy one. Yeah.
Yeah. So he like, I am like on top of a ceiling and I'm looking down and I could hear my voice as my thoughts. And that's like what happened in my near-death experience. And I remember thinking, which I can hear myself saying is, oh my gosh, where am I? Am I dreaming? Wow. Oh my gosh, this is Andy's room. And I'm like on top of his ceiling and I'm looking down and like all of a sudden I'm like, what is he doing? And he had like, I don't know if his family or friends or anybody will ever see this, but I've only told this story to close friends of ours. But he had a rope. And I was just like, what is he doing? And he put it around his neck. And I was freaking out. And I was trying to scream for him to stop. And he couldn't hear me. I was crying. Okay. Like, I mean, I'm not in my body. I just am seeing with eyes from above the ceiling down.
Yeah.
And I knew that. But I knew I wasn't dreaming. But then again, I'm like, I didn't know what an outer body experience was. So I didn't know what was happening. All I know is I saw what I saw.
Yeah.
So then I woke up drenched in tears and I was crying. And then again, my grandma, I told her what happened. And she's like, oh, we're going to pray about this, mija. Well, I went to bed and woke up that morning to a phone call from his neighbor who's his childhood best friend and who was my best friend too. He called me and he was just like, he sounded like, you can tell, you know, when he was just like, and I was like, what? And he was crying. And I was like, what? I was like, tell me, what the fuck? What? And he was just like, because I knew it was something, you know, bad.
Yeah.
And he was just like, Andy. Oh my God, my freaking soul jumped out of my body. I collapsed to the floor and I was just like, what about him? And he goes, he hung himself last night. I have goosebumps right now. I screamed and I said, what the fuck? I seen him. And he goes, what do you mean? You were there? You seen him? Why? What happened? And I was like, no, I think I dreamed. I don't know. Like I had something happen. Like I seen him. I seen it. Like I woke up crying in tears. Like I feel like I was there. That's what I told him. Like I feel like I was there, but I seen it.
Yeah.
And then he was just like, that's crazy. And I was just like, yeah. Like, so that was a vision or an outer body experience now that I realize it.
That's
you know?
intense. That's super intense. That's sad. You know, it's sad that he was brought to that point in life.
Yeah. And, you know, after he did it, after he put the rope around his neck, he regretted it. And I couldn't do anything to help him. And you could tell because he was trying to like get out of it.
Wow. That freaks me out. I had a friend who recently passed away from an overdose, but he was not a depressed person. Like he was a super like jovial, fun, like party kid, like just super happy. And he just took a little too much is what happened. Yeah. Took a little too much and slipped. And I remember going to his funeral and overhearing his mom speaking to her spiritual guide. And the spiritual guide said that the same thing, that he regretted it and that he was like fighting to stay here, but he couldn't.
Wow. Yeah.
That just bummed me out.
It's like, just one of those things where like they feel like in that moment, that's the only way out. But
that must be so tormenting.
I can't even like imagine what goes through like anyone's mind in that moment where they're like, I changed my mind.
That's the biggest fuck up of all. It's like, it's one thing to make a mistake, you know, whatever, you know, get in a car accident, but to literally end your life and be like, fuck, I fucked up.
While you're in the process
of leaving.
And there's no coming back from that decision.
Dude, I think about that sometimes. And sometimes I had another friend who passed away who was super depressed. And me and him had a spiritual tie. And sometimes I wonder like, man, what were his last thoughts? You know, I wonder like, not to be selfish, like, oh, he was probably thinking about me, but me and him were very close spiritually. Like we used to meet up and go read the Bible together and pray for everybody and everything like that. Sometimes I feel like, damn, like that must have been so sad if like in that moment he was like thinking about me, like, fuck, dude,
Oh
Eddie, like, you know? So like, I don't know, those last moments must be tormenting.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, I don't want to bring this down.
No, it's fine. I mean, it's all part of our journey too. You know what I mean? All these experiences and all these connections that we've had with everybody, like it's all to show us something, and it's part of our journey, right? For where we're all headed. So yeah, my surgery, that was my outer body experience, was when I was in the coma, and then I had my fourth surgery 10 years after that. And my fourth surgery, that's when I had my near death experience. And
this was like the event.
Badass. Yeah. So like today when people are like, oh my gosh, you had brain surgery, I'm so sorry. I'm like, don't be sorry. The best experiences I've ever had. Are you kidding me? I had an outer body experience. I had near death experience. I've astral projected.
Like sign me up. Start hitting my head with a hammer and shit.
I see people in I see into the fourth dimension. I don't try to. I've never induced any of these things.
Yeah, it's been with you your entire life. Yeah. You're a powerful person, you know, and so.
I mean, we definitely all have a calling, you know, and I know and I believe that like a greater divine higher power, like God, brings us together in divine timing, right, through synchronized events.
Excuse me.
Bless you.
Thank you. Yeah. Walk us through that. Walk us through
So my near-death experience, I am, my shunt just stopped working because it's a foreign object in our body. So our bodies are constantly going to attack something foreign within us. So it stopped working for whatever reason. And then I started having symptoms again of blurred vision. My gait is off. I don't have any balance. I can't talk, slurred speech. I knew what was happening right away, called my mom. She picked me up, took me to the hospital. And then, yes, I already knew I needed brain surgery. They're prepping me. They took me to the back room to prep me. Yeah. And then they put the gas mask, the anesthesia mask on me, the gas mask.
The gas mask.
Well, I mean, I did die, technically.
Here goes, like, go to sleep.
Right.
Holocaust
so they
style.
put the anesthesia mask on me, and they asked me to count backwards. So I did. And the next thing you know, like I'm closing my eyes and then I open them, but I'm opening them from above. I'm on the top of the ceiling and I'm looking down.
Yeah.
And I'm like, again, I can hear my voice as my thoughts. And then I'm like, where am I? Oh my gosh, I'm in the hospital. What? That's me on the surgery table. I'm freaking out.
Yeah.
Because when these things happen, you're very consciously aware of what's going on. You are very consciously aware that you are not dreaming. At this point, like I knew, like I'm not dreaming. That's my body down there.
Yeah. You're just like
get the fuck in your body. Go back. And that's what I was thinking.
Yeah.
I was so scared. I was like, oh my gosh, get back in your body. Get back in your body. Go, go, go. Yeah. So I was trying to go down. But then I felt a pull, and it pulled me, and I literally felt like when you're a kid and you're on a swing and your stomach, like when you go high and like right before you go down, like I felt like my stomach turn, and I didn't have a body, but I learned later that's our astral body.
Yeah, the subtle body.
Yeah, and then I learned later too that like our voice is part of our consciousness.
It's like,
and that's why I heard my voice. That's why I heard my thoughts as my voice within my conscious mind.
Yeah, it's all one thing. It's like this weird.
Exactly.
We're really just like this orb where it all just compacts.
Exactly. Yeah. Exactly.
The voice, the mind, the feelings. It's just like this weird little orb thing. That's what we really are. Just little orbs.
We are. We're just little starlights of energy.
Yeah.
So then I feel this pull, and then I get sucked into this black hole, and I'm going so fast, right? And then I get spit out. And when I got spit out, it felt like when you jump into a swimming pool and you dive under the water and how that feels.
Yeah.
Right? You're like, just the feeling. Imagine jumping into a big, deep swimming pool. The deepest pool I've ever been in is like 12 feet.
Like everything kind of slows down, sort of.
Yeah. You dive in and you're just like, you feel that like, it's just, you just, imagine just diving into a big swimming pool. So that's what I felt. And everything just also sounded like, so like if you're underwater. Right. And it just sounded like so calm. I felt so calm, so peaceful. And everything around me was pitch black. And I was asking myself again, I can hear my voice as my thoughts. And I was like, oh my God, where am I? Wow. Where am I? Oh my God. And the first thing I felt was love. It was like so much love. It was so beautiful. I'm still trying to obtain it here.
Good luck.
Right now.
Try Tinder, Hinge, I don't know.
Literally.
None of it's working.
Hey, I've come close to some really divine, beautiful connections.
They should just make a dating app called Near Death Experience.
You're right.
It's all
Are you
love.
looking for unconditional love like the one you experienced in your near-death experience?
Yeah.
This is the dating app for you.
Oh my God.
Find others in your area who have had and are seeking the same experience.
Did you feel it too? Did you die also?
God, right? So I'm like, I feel love, but I can hear myself saying, oh my gosh, I feel love. And then I realized I am love.
Whoa.
Like it was just like this huge realization. I am love.
You are love.
And then I'm looking around and I just see, like, okay, where am I? I see beautiful orbs of light. And to me, I perceived them as stars. And I could see them nearby and I can see them in the distance. And then like, it's just like it kept going. There was no end to how far I could see. Right.
Yeah.
And I was just like, oh my gosh, how beautiful. And it was different. Like every star was different colors. So there was different colors of light energy. Right.
Yeah.
And then I'm like, where am I? And then I look in the distance and I look down because I could look up, down, around, like everywhere. I could look, and it was going on forever, no matter where I looked.
Whoa.
Yeah, it was just like,
infinity.
It was infinity all over me, all around me. And I look down and I just see Earth. And I was like, oh my gosh, that's where I was at. I was on Earth. But I had forgotten my life on Earth. I just knew I came from Earth.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, I came from Earth. And I knew in that moment, the first thing I said is, wow, my experience on Earth was like the blink of an eye. And the reason why I perceived that is because what I was feeling felt timeless.
Timeless.
Yeah. It felt like there was no time.
That's epic.
Yeah, I can't even explain, like, what does no time feel like? You know, like, there was no sense of time. It felt just infinite. I guess that's what, I don't know how you could, but how do you explain what the infinite feels like?
Yeah, I always say, like, the opposite of time and space is not nothingness. It's not death. The opposite of time and space is infinity.
It's infinity.
Yeah.
There's no end. And so I knew I came from Earth, and I knew that my experience on Earth felt like a blink of an eye.
Damn.
And that's what I said.
Yeah.
And then after that, I hear this voice, and I can hear her in my mind. And it was so clear. And she's like, yes, you were on Earth, but now it's time to go back. And I'm looking at this beautiful light. So I knew the voice was coming from her. From her, yeah. So then later on, I realized, oh, we are telepathic. We can hear each other.
Oh,
each
shit.
Other's mind. It's like everything is.
The angels are just like, we can
hear
you, right?
We can hear your thoughts.
You're like,
everything's transparent.
Yeah. Everybody has different powers. It's funny because when you get to that infinite realm, like, these powers that we have here are normal. Yeah. Like, you have the power of intuition. And I have a friend who I'm going to be interviewing as well. He has the power of telepathy. He can hear thoughts. Wow. Not always, but
they come in. He intercepts them.
Yeah.
That's why.
Yeah, he had a very severe Kundalini awakening as well.
Oh my gosh.
Gnarly, but his was done through like going crazy. It's a whole story. But yeah, he got 5150, kicked out by his family. Because he was going through a Kundalini awakening, but nobody fucking knew. He didn't know.
Yeah, they perceived it as him being
crazy.
psycho.
Yeah, and he didn't know either. He's like, I'm going fucking crazy. Like
Yeah.
I can hear people's thoughts. What the fuck's going on?
That would make somebody feel crazy.
Yeah, so it's like everybody has these powers. You have the power of intuition. He's got telepathy, and I don't know what mine is. To be honest. Like,
I'm excited to find out.
Yeah, I just know I'm very studious. I feel like I'm just here to be like grounded.
But you have a power. You have a gift, though.
Yeah, I feel like mine is grounding. That's how I feel. I don't know. Like, I'm kind of like a tree. I'm just here to like ground everything.
You do feel very grounding. That's for sure.
Huh.
Very peaceful.
I have no skills.
Oh, yes, shit. You do. You're a plumber.
There you go. I'm a plumber.
You have too many skills. Stop it.
True.
I'm like, yeah, the list goes on with you, mister.
So yeah, we'll get back into it. But something you said that I want to touch on again is, it's funny because a lot of people who have these near-death experiences, well, there's two sides, right? Some people go to hell, some people go to heaven.
They have different experiences, huh?
Yeah. But a lot of time, I feel like the heaven and hell ones are like distinctly like not hallucinations, but they're trips, hallucinations.
They're perceptions.
Perceptions, yeah. And for whatever reason, like God, the creator, is taking them there to
allowed them to have that. But it's always based on like their dogma and their upbringing. But the ones like yours, where you don't go to some like preconceived notion of some heaven or hell, I feel like those are like real. They're the real ones. Yeah.
And
because for me, not to cut you off, for me, I feel like it was a conscious experience. Like it was consciousness. Yeah. You know? Like I think for me, I'm perceiving heaven as like a state of consciousness.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And I literally was just watching an interview yesterday or a couple of days ago of this amazing country singer named Sierra Farrell. And she's like an up and coming young country singer. And one of her songs is blowing up on TikTok and everything. And I just felt called to her song. I'm like, damn, this song is super amazing. And so I just felt called to like watch some of her interviews and get to know her. Yeah, I'll show it to you. And I mean, I love studying people. Obviously, you know, I love studying people. What you do. Yeah. So I sat down and listened to her story, and her story is fucking crazy. Like she had near-death experiences. And,
oh, wow.
Yeah, like just so many amazing stories. So that's
what you felt her through her music, and you're like, who is this girl? Yeah. What is she all about?
Yeah.
Okay.
And she had a similar experience where she died, and she went to like this darkness, and then she saw light, and then she got closer to the light, and she said these beautiful angelic people were like pulling her in, like, come on, like, yay, like cheering her, like, welcome back.
Oh. Did she feel love?
Yeah, she felt love. She said all she felt was bliss.
Felt love.
Just love. Yeah. She said she couldn't feel anything but love. Yeah. That's it. And then she had forgotten.
That's all I felt.
Yeah, and she forgot everything about the life here. Yeah. And she forgot about it all. And then, but then she was like, and then they brought her back to life here. And so she got pulled back. And then when she came back here, she was like, no, why the fuck did you do that?
I didn't want to come back.
Yeah.
So I was like, oh my God, I'm home. Oh wow, I was on Earth. Oh my God, that was a blink of an eye. But I'm home. I'm so happy I'm home. And then I heard this voice. But now it's time to go back. And then I was like, go back where, to Earth?
You're like, what?
Fucked up, homegirl.
Yeah, it's ghetto down there. Do you know what they're doing?
Like, what the fuck? Yeah. And then she's like, yes, it's time to go back. And I was like, but I'm home.
Yeah, like,
I'm home. And she's like, yes, you are home. This is home. But now it's time to go get back to Earth. And I said, but I don't want to go back. I'm home. I'm happy to be home. Yeah. And then she said, I understand. But when you aren't incarnated into Earth, you made a soul agreement. I didn't know what the fuck a soul agreement was till that happened. And then when I came back from that, I was like, Google soul agreement.
Soul agreement. The fuck this bitch talking about?
Shit?
Yeah.
Like, okay, so she's like, you know, you made a soul agreement and you agreed to incarnate on Earth.
Wow.
And part of your agreement was to have this experience, and that's why you're here now. But you did not agree that it was your time. So now you have to go back. And I'm like, but I don't want to go back. I'm home. So then she had to remind me, because I didn't remember my life on Earth. She said, I understand, but you also have 4 boys who incarnated to you on Earth, and you have to go back and complete your mission also raising them. As soon as she said that,
wow.
I was like, my voice. Okay, I'm ready to go back.
Yeah.
And then I open my eyes and I'm in the freaking, like, after you have surgery, I'm in the
Emergency room.
Well, no, forgot the name of it right now. But I'm in the room, like, after you have surgery, and there's this nurse standing over me, and she's, like, ready to administer pain medication into my IV, and I just look up at her, and I was like, hi, and I'm smiling, and I was, like, so in love with her.
Yeah.
And then she's like, oh, hi, honey. You're just coming out of surgery, but you're about to be in a lot of pain, but don't worry, I'm going to administer your pain medication right now. And I just looked at her, and I said, you are so beautiful. And she goes, oh, honey, that's the nicest thing anybody's ever said to me coming out of surgery. But I meant, like, her soul.
Yeah.
You know?
Your soul.
I was in love with everybody after that.
How long did that last, that, like, love and bliss?
Ooh, it lasted like a year.
Yeah.
It lasted a while.
That's funny, though.
I ended up going to church and getting baptized for a whole year. Like, I was, like, changed my whole life. Everything was great and beautiful because I was trying to hold on to that,
sustain it, yeah.
And then, like, all of, like, the dissension of earth kept haunting me.
Yeah, no, I find it funny. Like, as soon as you came back, she's just like, okay, you're going to be in a lot of pain. Like, welcome back to earth where it's nothing but fucking pain.
Nothing but pain, honey.
Yeah.
Literally.
Jeez.
Yeah.
So you come back, you're in this bliss, and so you're trying to sustain it. And then you ended up getting baptized.
I got baptized. And then in my baptism, I'm going to church consistently every Sunday, and I'm, like, reading my Bible, and, like, I'm sober, and, like, always have had a connection with God no matter what. But after I got baptized, baptized. This
is baptism, homie. Like that scene from Straight Outta Compton.
Oh my God.
This is Bopton. You're like, yo, this is baptism, homie.
I heard that. How funny.
Yeah.
I probably did, but it's probably been a while since I watched it.
Yeah.
So yeah, I got baptized, and then I'm reading the freaking Bible, like, after my baptism. And then I'm like, all of a sudden, I'm reading something, and I'm like, what? And I heard this, like, voice. And it didn't sound like a voice in my mind.
Yeah.
It was more like of an intuitive,
an
intuitive message.
Mm.
And it was like, oh, but that's not true. That part's not true. And I was like, what do you mean that's not true? And I'm like, God, what do you mean that's not true?
Yeah. He's like, yeah, they made that shit up.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
He's like, I never said that shit.
Exactly. And I was just like, I had to ask God. I was like, God, what do you mean? Like, this is the Bible.
Yeah.
How dare you tell me this is not true? Like, I'm like, God, is that you? Or is this the devil?
For real, yeah. How do you distinguish that?
Exactly.
Yeah. How were you able to distinguish that? Because
my relationship.
Yeah.
My connection.
Yeah, that's awesome for you to say. Because obviously, like, Christians and people are gonna be like, oh, question the Bible. That's the devil. That's the devil. Yeah, but it's like, dude, okay, sure, it's the word of God.
Okay, so then was I talking to the devil this entire time?
Yeah.
Right?
It's like the word of God, sure, but it was put together by men, so it's like, and it's funny too, because they think like they limit God to just that one book as if God couldn't write another one, like you don't think God's writing another book?
God is like,
he's writing
in our DNA. We are the book. We are the letters.
Exactly.
Like our DNA.
The book is still being written.
Exactly.
What, we're not a part of it? Like, we're in the book.
We are literally prophet.
Yeah. No, for real. Like that Bob Marley movie just came out. To me, Bob Marley is the closest we've ever came to a real prophet. Like people don't realize, but Bob Marley's music is heavily centered around the Bible and God's word.
Oh,
Most of his lyric, a lot of his lyrics are straight up verses from the Bible. So like to me,
I have like goosebumps right now.
Oh yeah, he was a real prophet of God, and we missed that. We totally didn't even realize that we were blessed with another Ezekiel.
So insane.
Yeah.
So beautiful.
Yeah, so you hear this voice, and it's God telling you, yo, this shit is whack, stop.
Exactly.
And so that sets you onto a new path of spirituality. Mm-hmm. So take us from there. What
okay, so then got baptized, realized, don't believe everything you read, not even in the Bible. I'm like, yes, God is in our heart. Everything that we need to know is in our heart and our connection with God. Like that is the greatest connection you're going to ever find. look at the Bible as like a history book,
Yeah.
you know? Because yes, there are divine people who have their story in there, but how is that any less divine than my experiences and my stories that
Yeah.
I've experienced, and how beautiful they were and how connected they were to God?
That's what I'm
So,
saying. It's like the
yeah,
book is still being written.
exactly.
Like, oh, what, the people in the Bible are the only people that ever lived or that will ever live? Like,
Yeah,
no. Like, we're
no.
still being written into the
Exactly.
new book.
Yeah, and that's like going back to what you said. It's like people get so stagnant in church.
Yeah.
You know, like there is levels to this. There's levels to consciousness. Like there's levels to like, do you think God is always like on one level? No, God is like, good,
Infinite.
good luck reaching him, but
Yeah.
at least try. Everyone's just staying in one spot and like, you know, one level. Like keep
Yeah.
going, keep going. Okay, great. Go deeper.
Yeah.
Go deeper. Keep going. There's no end.
Yeah.
Just like the universe is like infinitely expanding, so is our heart and our minds and our consciousness.
Mm-hmm.
You know?
And you know what's
our
wild too?
Connectedness.
Is God is infinite, which means everything is infinite. Like we can expand outward infinitely. We can also go inward
You can
infinitely.
go inward. Yeah.
Which is wild.
Yeah. And then
Yeah.
it just like, for me, like I perceive that as like, the more inward you go, you're going to end up back out anyway. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, it's just like in is out and out is in.
Fractal, spiral.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
Yeah. Oh, man.
Because I've been through some dark times in my life.
Oh, yeah. Definitely.
And I have like went deep in those dark times.
Mm-hmm.
And I came out into the light from them. From the darkest places.
Yeah.
Went so deep into them and came out into the light.
Yeah, it's revolving.
Right? Exactly.
They both have to exist.
Yeah.
In order for gratitude to exist.
Mm-hmm.
You can only appreciate when you know what not to appreciate.
Exactly. And you don't understand darkness without you. You know, I used to fear a lot of things.
Yeah.
You know, like darkness, scary movies. I used to fear it. And then one day I was just like, I'm not going to fucking fear any of this. Like, I'm going deep. Let's go. And then I started realizing like, there's no reason to fear any of it. Like,
No.
no.
It's all God.
And that's why a lot of us too, because of our fear, so many things that are fear-based is what like separates us from God. You know, from going within, from sitting in those dark spaces. And that takes me to my journey now, which is Kriya.
Yeah. Yeah, I forgot about that.
Yeah.
I just wanted to say, like, religion is an introduction to God.
Yeah.
Spirituality is a like relationship with God.
It is literally the walk.
Yeah.
I feel like it's the works.
The work.
Spirituality's the works. Religion's the teachings, right? It's like where you're studying.
Yeah.
You're learning, you're reading your history books,
Yeah.
Bible.
Yeah.
And then when you get into spirituality, there's levels.
Yeah.
But spirituality is like you are being conditioned and strengthened and you're doing the works and you keep going. You just keep going, you keep going, you keep going. And so where I am at now is where I would have feared to be back then when I was on a religious state of mind and consciousness. I would have been like, that's for the devil. You don't do that stuff.
Yeah, we don't do yoga here. We don't bend over. We don't bend over for the devil.
We don't say mantras.
Yeah. Isn't that funny? Like how you've literally evolved.
Yes, evolutionary growth. And that's what Kriya is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So let's get into that. So real quick. So our friend Sundari.
Yes, Sundari. We love you. Shout out. Thank you so much for guiding me and being my guru and this next journey and stage of my spiritual path.
The guru girl.
Yeah.
I was going to try and combine those words. Girl. Guru girl.
The guru girl.
But yeah, shout out Sundari, our friend. I'm going to interview her as well.
Yes.
And she's one of those people in our lives who came through serendipity, through synchronicity.
Yeah.
I met her through a synchronicity, and then come to find out, she's this badass, spiritual
She's
teacher.
amazing.
Yeah, and so we've all integrated our skills, our passions together, and now we're friends, and we're
It's
also
beautiful.
collaborators.
Yeah.
So she offered a Kriya teaching,
Mm-hmm.
which you took on.
Yes.
So,
I was literally called to do it because you happened to guide a gathering ceremony with Mente ceremonies.
Yeah.
You can find him on Instagram.
Yeah. So that real quick too.
Yes.
Yeah, that was synchronistic as well. So real quick, I have an interview on the channel that many of you probably have already seen so I did a plumbing job for this dude named Nader, right? This older Iranian gentleman. And I'm right there fixing his water heater or whatever. And then he's just standing right there talking to me. And a lot of times I get annoyed when the customer's like standing there.
Yeah.
I'm just like, go away, like let me work. But he was just persistent, like just talking. Then I'm like, I opened up. Something told me like, just open up to him. I'm like, okay, fine. So we opened up, we conversated, come to find out he's just a super sweet, generous, awesome, spiritual badass as well.
Mm-hmm.
And he's owned this facility for 20 years here in San Diego, centered around healing the mind and body, this and that. And then so I go to visit the facility and he's like, yo, I love what you do. I want you to help me host retreats here, host ceremonies. Mm-hmm. So I put together this ceremony. Long story short, you show up, a bunch of other people show up, and many of you did not know each other.
I didn't, yeah.
Yeah.
I only knew you and Lauren.
Yeah.
And then I met Larissa.
Yeah.
That day, and we drove up together.
Yeah. You met Larissa that day.
That day I met her, we drove up together to your ceremony.
That's wild, yeah. She's a badass for that. Like, okay, yeah, I'll go with you. Yeah. So
we're both crazy.
Just crazy, badass. I don't know. Definitely just open.
Yeah.
Open-minded.
For sure.
But yeah, so we all hung out that night and it created such a beautiful connection. And here we are, and all of us are like just so deeply immersed with each other now.
Yes.
It feels like we've known each other forever.
It's beautiful. And we're all like interconnected in our spiritual path and in our journeys, and what we're doing also like in our earthly callings as well, with what we're doing.
Yeah. So we had that event. It was guided by, we had some people guiding breath work. The homie Ivan guided the breath work. And so you had a breakthrough with the breath work.
I had a breakthrough with the breath work. It was my first time partaking in breath work. I was excited for it. I was totally open to it. It was pretty deep. It took me to a place where I had the whole breakthrough, where I just screamed, like this big old scream came out of me, and then just started crying. All this emotion just came out of me. And then after that, I couldn't stop laughing. Like so much happiness and bliss, right? Just because of the breakthrough.
Yeah.
But in that time, my experience is I literally felt like I was having an initiation of my higher selves. I had a vision and I seen all of my higher selves in a circle standing around me because I'm laying down on the ground. And while I'm going through this breakthrough, right, and I'm screaming and I start crying and like I'm in this place within, and I'm so deeply in there, and I just have this vision and I see all of my higher selves, which just look like light bodies, but I knew that they were my higher selves.
Yeah.
I was so connected to them. And then I literally felt like they were initiating me into my next conscious level.
Yo, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, you literally were
I ascended.
Evolving, ascending,
in that moment.
elevating.
Yeah, elevating.
Yeah.
And that's what ascension is. People think that, like, some people think like ascension is like these aliens are going to come, or like we're going to have like this experience where Jesus is going to take us up into the sky. What do you call that? It's in the Bible.
The rapture.
The rapture is going to happen.
Ascension.
An ascension is like a conscious elevation.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, that's how I explain spiritual awakenings or Like spiritual awakenings or conscious expansion, it's literally your awareness expanding.
Yeah, it's ascending.
You know, like, because a lot of people are just right here on the basic level one. Their awareness is just within their own self.
Yeah.
Like most people aren't even aware of the emotional distress that their family members are going through. You know, most people can't even sense other energies or whatever. Most people are on like the lower.
They're not like
stages.
tuned into anybody else.
Exactly.
Like,
So when you have a spiritual awakening or a conscious expansion, ascension, elevation, it's literally your awareness expanding, and not just your awareness expanding, but your abilities expanding, because all of us have the basic five senses, right? The basic five senses, but all of those five senses can expand as well.
Yes.
You can literally start to see more colors. You can start to see auras, energy. You can start to feel.
There are more than five senses.
Yeah. And so this is real. These awakenings, these expansions are very real.
Yeah.
And so it's
they're
fucking badass that you were being initiated into that. And you've literally evolved. You've upgraded.
Yeah, that's evolutionary
Roxie
growth.
2.0.
Right? That is, yeah. And I remember that, like, right after that happened, like, I came, like, was wiping my tears, and I, like, got up and sat up, and I just looked at you. You had this big old smile. You're like, I'm so proud of you.
Yeah. Well, it was funny because, I mean, I put together the event. I was kind of running around, making sure things were good. I was hosting.
Yes.
It was beautiful to be able to watch all of you immerse yourselves into the meditations and the exercises. I've gone through that myself, so I didn't feel the need to have to do it that night because I had to attend to everything.
Yes.
But I remember during the breath work, I had to go pick up the food, the banh mi's, the little sandwiches, and I come back with the banh mi's just walking in, and everybody's like crying and laughing, and I'm just like, what the heck? Like the first person I saw was you, and you were crying, and we just like hugged super big. And I'm just there with the sandwiches, and you're like, I just basically came back from the other side.
Yeah, I was like, oh my God, I'm on cloud 9.
Yeah, I'm like, okay, well, I got some banh mi's.
Oh my gosh, that was amazing.
Yeah, no, that's fucking badass, dude. It was honestly amazing to be able to watch you and everybody else go through that.
It was just amazing being there and like connecting with everybody, and like the fact that you put that together, and like that was something that you were guided to do as well, like.
Oh yeah, dude. I don't know. I mean, I knew what I was doing, but it's another one of those things where it's like, what am I doing?
Yeah,
dude?
you're just like being moved by something, and like everything's happening, and just.
Yeah, I felt weird. I'm like, I don't do this. I don't put together meditation events. Like, I'm a grumpy plumber, bro. Like, what the fuck am I doing?
Oh my God, that's crazy.
But I do have a passion for it, and I knew that it was going to be necessary, and now I know why.
Yeah. You just followed your calling. You followed your heart. You followed your inner divine calling, and now here we are, and like it's crazy.
Yeah. So getting back to the Kriya, so you went through all of that. You were initiated by your higher self.
I was initiated by my higher selves, and then after that, like I met Sundari that night, and it was so beautiful. I was like, "Oh my God, you're so beautiful!" Like, I'm Roxie. Nice to meet you. And, like, I met her, and she's awesome. And then, she put together the Kriya ceremony, right? And I felt called. Oh, before that. You had another ceremony after that ceremony.
The Airbnb.
Yes.
Yeah, we all had such a great time that night that we wanted to just get back together and just hang out.
Let's do this. Yeah.
So we pitched in for this super awesome Airbnb for 2 nights, and we did do some ceremonies, but it was mostly about just hanging out and having fun, which we did do a lot of as well. But yeah, as you were saying.
So at that ceremony that you had at the Airbnb, I didn't stay the night there the first night, but I came and visit the next day, and we were doing, like Sundari was there, and she was going to guide the sound bowl healing.
Yeah. And
she also did some Kriya meditation. And I didn't even know what that was. Like, I never had heard of Kriya meditation before. But like she did a little bit of sound bowl, and that was beautiful. And we all sat in a circle, and when we were doing the Kriya meditation and she was guiding it, she took us through some breath work exercises, techniques. And I've never done that before. And during that experience, when she was guiding it, I have felt the Holy Spirit before, because I grew up with a very spiritual grandma, very connected to God, very godly, beautiful woman. And I know what the Holy Spirit feels like. So I felt the Holy Spirit through her. Like she has a gift.
Yeah.
She has a very beautiful,
she's a special
divine
one.
She's a very healing woman. I have goosebumps right now talking about her. Like she's got a huge calling in her life. And again, not all healers and prophets are only in Bibles. Like Dari is a walking, beautiful, like God is working through her like tremendously, majorly right now. So after the ceremony, she's like, so how did everybody feel? And she's asking us. I was like, you are powerful. Oh my gosh. I want to learn what you just did.
Yeah, seriously.
Like, I want to do that. Like, I felt called to like, this is, I just knew what Kriya was from that experience, but I felt called to like go deeper and learn more about it. And I told her, I was just like, oh my gosh, like I want to learn to guide and do what you just did.
Yeah.
And then I'm like, I feel like I'm called, like that's what I need to do. And she's like, oh, okay, yeah, actually, yeah. And she just started her Soma.
Yeah.
And spiritual,
her spiritual center.
Center, yes.
Yeah, that's super awesome. I think she wants to do a lot of work with people who are in recovery. I think through it, which I think is amazing.
It is, yes.
But so she ended up having a Kriya initiation that you went to.
Yes, I went to the initiation, and it was just me. So it was like a personal one-on-one.
Like literally was just for you.
Exactly. Well, and it was her and her husband. Yeah,
Kyle. Yeah,
Kyle.
He's an awesome dude.
He's amazing. Yes, and like they met because of Kriya. Yeah,
I didn't know that. Wow.
Yes. When she told me, I was just like, oh my God, that's so beautiful.
So, and everybody's just like synchronicity.
So, yes, synchronicity. So they both guided me and initiated me into Kriya. And so right now I'm going through my sadhana. And I'm learning all about Kriya as I go. Yeah. So as I'm walking through this journey, I'm discovering everything as I go. Just like when you are going on a nature walk of somewhere you've never been, you're discovering every step before you. Wow. Right? Yeah. And that's what's happening with me. And it is so beautiful. And like sadhana is basically, it's a journey, right? And it's basically a journey of like, I see it as, and how I perceive it is like strengthening and conditioning, and also just like a journey of going inward to deepen your spiritual calling. Yeah. Right.
So your sadhana, is that like step one?
It's just it's basically like I can, like I told, like when I was talking to Sundari, I was like, I see, so sadhana is like strengthening and conditioning. And she's like, pretty much. Yeah. So what I'm doing right now is I'm going through like a 40-day practice.
Wow.
And through this 40-day practice, I'm waking up every morning right before the sun comes up. So this takes discipline.
Gee.
Yeah. Right before the sun comes up. And I am going, I'm meditating. I'm going within. Like I prep myself for meditation. Like I prep my mind, to prepare my mind to sit down and go inward within myself. And then like for me, I like to practice with sage. So I use sage to cleanse my energy, to prepare before I go into my meditation. And then it's called Kriya Yoga meditation. So you are supposed to be doing yoga before you go into the meditation, because when you're doing yoga, you're helping to like open up, like your body and your energy and get like everything flowing through the stretching and everything. So you do you wake up, you prep yourself, and then like me, like I said, for prep for me is I like to sage. So I like to cleanse my energy, and then I do the yoga, and then I sit down, and then I get ready to go into meditation. And
this is all super early in the morning.
This is like 6:30 in the morning.
Was that hard for you to like start doing?
I was so excited to do it
No way.
the first 2 days that
Yeah.
it was not hard. And
No
now,
way.
like, so this morning was like day 4. No, day 5. It was the hardest. So it was just like, I am so dead.
You're like,
I'm
I don't want to
tired.
create anymore.
I'm like, oh my gosh. I'm like, I'm done.
Yeah. Oh my god.
No, but once you finish and you go through the process, it's so beautiful.
Yeah.
Like I'm so happy to do it. Like I'm gonna do it every day. I'm like on tomorrow will be day 6. Yeah.
Wow, that's a discipline right there.
So what I do is like I go into meditation, and there is also basically what we did when she guided us.
Yeah.
You know, like we did the breath work.
Yeah.
Right. And then from the breath work, she gave me, I was initiated with a mantra.
Like a personal mantra?
A personal mantra. So
Is it
Kyle
like-
and her initiated me with my own personal mantra.
That's cool.
And then they gave me my mala beads.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
And so with the mala beads, there's 108 beads.
Mm.
And then you just recite the mantra 108 times.
Is it? Oh my, 100. Okay. Oh,
Yeah, every morning at 6:30.
every morning at 6:30.
Yeah. And
Before the
so-
sun comes up.
Exactly. And so what that does,
Wait, is it like a private mantra or can you share it with us?
well, I want to keep it private
Okay.
for me just
Yeah, yeah.
until I get done
That
with
makes sense.
my sadhana.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I guess, so like after the sadhana, and after I'm done with it and I've done the 40 days. So what that does is like, think of it as discipline.
Mm.
We're disciplining ourselves every day to wake up when the sun comes up.
Yeah.
So that we can go inward, and we're putting that moment, that sacred time and space away just for you and God
Wow.
to go within, and you go deep and you go into like your meditation state. And what the mantras do is the mantras are, you know, they're supposed to be very sacred, you know, just like when you go and like mantras, like, let's just say like, you know, when you're
Wait,
meditating,
sorry.
it's okay.
Get away from the camera.
Words are powerful, right?
Yeah.
Words have power and have energy. Everything does. Everything, and it's like everything has a purpose. So the mantras have a purpose, and they have power, and they have great intention, and they're very spiritual. So you recite your mantra, and I've experienced like the first time I did it, it's insane. I had like an indigo light. My eyes were closed and I saw complete pitch black in my mind. And then in my, where my third eye is, it was like this beautiful indigo color. And it looked like a freaking stone glowing in my third eye.
No way.
And I could look at it and see it and look into it. It was just insane. And it was just right
you
there
saw
floating.
like a light.
I saw like,
Yeah.
think of like a stone, like that big,
Mm.
and like it's glowing, and think of it floating like in space.
Mm.
Like it looked like
Yeah.
it was floating in space, and it was glowing, and the color was indigo. But I seen it right here, and I could like just, I looked right into it, and it was beautiful.
Mm.
So that was just like, that was insane for me. That was my first experience.
What?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And by doing the meditations and you sit with yourself, it teaches you how to like go within, and it teaches us how to control the mind. Because if we have control of our mind, then we have control of everything,
Mm.
right?
Yeah. Yeah, that's like the major thing about this life. It's like people don't know how to control their mind.
Exactly.
Their urges, like we're always at the behest of our emotions, but if you can like calm that,
Yes.
discipline it, like
Mm-hmm.
everything's possible.
Yes.
Like literally, if we were to stop and think about that, like we limit ourselves by just being like, oh, I don't want to do that, I can't do that. But if we could just literally stop doing that, we
Yes.
could do whatever we want.
Exactly. Exactly. Like we are like limitless. Our potential is limitless. And like I am really, really loving this Korean meditation because it's showing me discipline, right? And like, and the reward is so great for me because when I'm done with it, like even during meditation, like I've had tears just rolling down, like things come up,
Yeah.
You know, like you're not supposed to allow your mind to flow. Get into a relaxing state. Yes, quiet your mind, but don't try to control what comes up in it. It's coming up for a reason. So there was things that were coming up in my meditation yesterday morning. And it took me to places where like I didn't want to go.
Wow.
But that's what we need to do in order to heal. We have to go to these places that we avoid, the places that we don't want to think about because we don't want to feel the pain of it, right? The things that like from childhood or from adolescence or from our relationships or for decisions that we've made, things that we don't even want to deal with it. You know, we don't want to like, we want it to just like go away.
It's funny because I was talking to my cousin on the phone the other day and I was like, oh, are you still smoking weed or whatever? Just catching up. And he's just like, oh, no, I can't smoke weed anymore, man. Whenever I get high, I just think about how much of a piece of shit I am. It's so funny how psychedelics does that to us.
It makes you aware. You're like hyper aware.
Yeah, we have to confront ourselves.
We are literally.
And that's their true purpose. That's the true purpose of medicine. Not the party, it's to confront what's going on inside.
Exactly.
And meditation does the same thing.
Yeah,
you know? And they're both sisters. You know, the psychedelics and the meditations are sisters that are meant to be able to handle each other.
Like tools.
Tools,
to help us connect within, and the deeper we go, the more closer we feel connected to source, right?
That's the most important thing. Yeah.
Exactly what everyone is so disconnected from. You know, it's insane. Like, so I'm really loving this Kriya because it's taking me places that like I would not go to on my own. I wouldn't just want to sit in bed and think about who wants to do that. Think about things that made them sad and brought them trauma. Let me just sit here and think about my trauma right now for a moment. No one wants
for an
to
hour
do that.
And think about how I was abused as a child.
Exactly. But here's the thing though. It's different because when I go there, I'm going there with intention and I'm opening my heart to connect with Creator, right? So I'm welcoming in love and I am allowing myself and giving myself permission to feel. And it's like, it's okay. Like right now, I'm putting this moment aside for myself to feel whatever needs to be felt and for whatever needs to rise in my thoughts and in my heart, for it to come up. And I know that I am safe and I know that I'm in good hands and it's okay. So whatever arises right now, it's because I want to face it with courage so that I can heal through it. And that's exactly what like's been happening with me. So, and here's the thing too, like everything isn't levels. And the reason why like I feel like I was spiritually guided for Kriya now is because I believe that I would not have been ready to face all of that sooner. All that trauma.
So this is the perfect time. This is the divine time.
I'm consciously now ready.
That's an important thing. I mean, everything you just said was powerful and beautiful, but that's very important for people to understand is like, that's why we need to keep striving. Yeah. Because if we're just staying stagnant at the basic levels of just going to church, you're not going to evolve. You're not going to elevate. And the gods, in whatever way you want to perceive that, will not initiate you for the next steps. Yeah. And so when you start to open yourself up to your heart and to your higher self, you'll find out that like very quickly, a lot of synchronicities are going to happen. Yes. Because now you're allowing the gods, God, the universe, whatever, to do its job to prepare you. Yes. It's like a parent. Like a parent's not going to like just let you run around crazy if they don't feel like you're prepared to do that. Exactly. But once they see like, okay, my kid, you know, they're ready.
Yeah, they're ready now to take on this next responsibility. And you know what? That's what this is. Healing is a major responsibility because a lot of the trauma that we've faced growing up, even trauma from like gestational trauma in our mother's womb. No, it wasn't our fault. No, our childhood trauma wasn't our fault. You know, a lot of our adolescent trauma wasn't our fault. And yes, we made bad decisions as teenagers, but you know, we were teenagers and like, even as adults, we've made bad decisions, but it's like, a lot of stuff that did happen to us, like as children, you know, or whatever trauma we faced, it may have not been our fault, but as adults, it is our responsibility to heal it.
Yes.
right? And to face it and to fix it, because no one's going to come to do that for us but ourselves.
True.
So I feel like, yeah, with great power comes great responsibility. So I'm ready, and here I am facing my trauma and taking on accountability for what is mine, and then being responsible to heal even what isn't.
Yeah, I'm excited for you and to see where this is going to go. For real. And when you were saying all of that, like when you're facing the darkness, pretty much facing the trauma, it made me think about like what the Egyptians have to say about when we die, like how we're guided through death by Anubis, right? Like when I read like the Egyptian steps of where our soul goes after we die, it's almost like reading a psychedelic experience of Kundalini awakening. You know, it's like these stages that we go through, that our soul goes through. And one of them is immediately almost we are met by Anubis, and he puts us in a boat or something and carries us through like the dark waters. So it's like the trauma, like we're being guided by the Kriya.
And then you could even think of it as like when Jesus was in like, you know, the abyss for 40 days and 40 nights. And that's why I love also like the 40 days of the strengthening and the conditioning and the discipline of doing this sadhana that I'm doing right now, right?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. And another thing that I thought about was like, it's funny because religion is like the watered down version of spirituality. Yeah. Right. And so like when you're talking about the mala beads, I remember my grandma on my dad's side, the one who passed away on Mother's Day, who played a huge role in our spiritual soul in our family, spiritual soul and artistic soul. I remember watching her pray like every night, you know, when she lived with us for a few years. Every night she'd be right there just praying with her beads, praying for everybody she could think of. And me and my cousins, we would like, you know, dance. We'd do these stupid things where we'd like dance behind her, like, you know, just trying to be funny. Like
while her eyes were closed. Just like doing her thing.
Yeah, you know, just trying to be silly. And then
my God.
I remember one time though, like I just was like watching her and it was like in the moonlight and just like, for some reason it just hit me and I was like, wow, she's like really serious about this. And but I'm like, it was beautiful. Like the moonlight was literally hitting her, and she's just right there, just like not knowing that we're being stupid, not paying attention, ignoring us, and just praying for everybody.
Oh, that's
and I remember,
beautiful.
Yeah, my cousin's still dancing. And I remember this was before TikTok. Oh, this would have definitely been on TikTok if we had it back then. But I remember looking at my cousin, and I was like, "No, dude, stop." I was like, "Let's stop. Let's not do this anymore."
Yeah, like, you connected with her in that moment.
I got it. I was like, no, this is powerful what she's doing right now.
Yes.
And I firmly believe to this day that the prayers she was saying then are still
with you,
are still with me, are still creating blessings and miracles for our family to this day.
I believe that because my grandma's not here anymore, and I hear her still, and I see her, and I feel her. Even last night, I felt her, and I was like, Grandma, I love you. I know you're still watching over me and praying.
Yeah, I know you're there.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, but it's funny though, because like some people like they don't know they fear, right? And yesterday morning, I was doing the sadhana and like I was chanting my mantra, and then my teenager woke up and he opened the door and he's like, "Mom, what the fuck are you doing? What are you doing? What are you summoning?"
Oh my God. What are you summoning?
And I had my booth and I have a little altar, mind you.
Oh my God.
And then
my mom's doing witchcraft.
So funny, dude. And then today, because I'm following my oldest son on Instagram so I can see his stories.
Yeah.
That's not why I'm following him, but like
lurking.
But like no, but like I'm following him, and because of that, I see his stories. So I'm scrolling through my stories, and then I'm like looking down. I'm like, that looks like my sanctuary. I'm like, that is. And then it was my son. He took a picture. He saw, what the fuck is my mom doing? He posted it on his Instagram.
It's hilarious. My mom's a witch now.
Like he's like, what the fuck's my mom trying to do? And you just see like my altar with my crystal ball and like.
That's hilarious. I couldn't picture my mom doing that.
Oh my God. I know. And I have like my little dragon right there and like my little crystals and my I just have my altar.
Yeah. Just trying to do Kriya, son. Just trying to ascend to the fifth dimension.
And then what do
you want for breakfast?
Well, when you chant the mantras, they're not in English.
Oh, yeah.
Right?
Hindu.
So, like, yeah, they're
He's like,
Hindu.
what the fuck is this shit? He's like, you're possessed and shit, speaking in tongues.
He walked in, he's like,
It's
Mom.
just like,
No, he walks in, he's like, Mom, what the fuck are you doing? Trying to summon something? What are you doing?
He's like, yeah, dude.
I was like, huh? No. I was laughing. I was like, that's not what I'm doing. Like, oh my gosh. So,
Dude.
not everyone's going to understand it, but it's not for them to understand, you know? And like, it's for me. It is my sole purpose. It's where I am guided at right now. And where I'm guided at right now is I'm going through like huge transformation of spiritual healing. I'm going through healing, and I'm going through like a spiritual warfare within for that healing, you know, like, and I'm seeking that healing because it's like, I have to do that because my next stage in my journey is, in order to become a healer, you have to heal yourself.
Yes. You have to do the work. You have to know how to do it.
Exactly.
So you can heal others. Like, and again, it's a conscious expansion. Because now you can recognize the pain and the trauma when you see people like, oh, and I feel like Jesus, that's why Jesus was Jesus. Because he could look at somebody and be like, oh, brother, you need a lot of healing.
Yeah.
You can literally see the demons on you.
What you need. Yeah.
Let me touch your forehead. Boom. Oh, shit. You know,
exactly. Like, and that's what I'm saying. Like, Sundari, like, she's very powerful. Like, I feel her, and I feel her touch as healing.
Yeah.
There was a moment, like, I remember being a little girl and my grandma praying for me, and her hands would be so warm. And like, even growing up, like as a teenager, like I would start crying of like, it was blissful, you know? And Sanjari, like when she took me through the initiation, like, you know, like she hugged me and like, I just started bawling. And she was like, it's okay. And I was just like, I don't know where they came from, but I do know, like she is very anointed. She is. Yeah,
she is. I know meeting her was a trip. I met her at the car wash, Romero's in Vista.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Which might be symbolic. I don't know.
Right.
And I remember she just was a radiant person. She was just exuding this radiance. I had to talk to her. And so I'm glad I did because...
I know. I'm glad you did too. Thank you.
Hey, thank the car wash.
Right. Because now I am where I am now. And like it's insane. It's beautiful. And it's just like, once I get through these 40 days, like imagine if I've already gone through, you know, like tomorrow will be day 6, right? And like, so what's tomorrow's sadhana going to bring me? My, you know, like my healing journey tomorrow. Like I have already gone through so much transformation within, and I'm just like, I can't even wait to see where I'm at on day 40.
We got to catch back up with you. Do like a mini interview, you know, just to see what happens. Yeah, what comes out of that.
I'm excited for it. Like, I've opened up my heart so much from it. So it's like people who are just like, oh, that's witchcraft. Really? Because I feel so much love and so much healing come from it. So if that's what you perceive as witchcraft, well, then I'd rather do that if that's going to bring me love and healing.
Like, all right, I'm going to chill with the witches, yo.
Yeah, like, well, then that's what we're doing.
It's so silly, dude, because, like, literally, as we were speaking earlier, like, at church, you got all kinds of fuckery going on with pastors or sometimes fucking this dude's wife or
like
these people
is where there's so much what they want to call sin, like in darkness, like that, and they're just covering it up with in Jesus' name, and like they're covering, they're hiding behind God, and I really perceive that the reason they do that as well is because like the whole religious like belief of God is going to forgive you for your sins, just repent. Okay, you have these people repenting every Sunday, but they're not changing. Yeah. No one's doing the works to actually change, which is to evolve, to be better, think better, be better, do better, do the works, walk the walk, right? Like walk your motherfucking talk. Like,
yeah, seriously. And some people are just not going to get it.
Yeah, because why not?
Until they go through an awakening.
Well, they're not going to get it because they're just like, it's okay. God's going to forgive me this Sunday.
Sure. Yeah. Like, okay.
They're never going to like want to change. Like,
it's kind of spoiled, huh?
It's
They're
insane.
Like the spoiled brats of the spiritual family.
I believe they are just using It really, like, they're using God.
Using and abusing.
Yeah, seriously.
The opium of the masses.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's crazy.
Dude, well, we could go on forever.
Yeah.
Well, there's so much more we could have touched on.
We really could have, but we talked about my brain surgeries and all the amazing spiritual experiences and where I am now in my journey. And so I'm excited now to see where this takes me. And I'm excited to see where our paths all take each other, you know, alongside one another.
Yeah.
So...
Yeah, we talked a lot about spirituality tonight. It's time for us to wrap this up so we can go party and forget about all the spirituality.
We'll see you in church on Sunday.
Yeah, we'll see you on Sunday. We're going to repent for everything we're about to do on Sunday.
Oh my God.
But this was amazing, dude. Thank you. I'm sure people are going to love this.
Thank you for having me, and thank you for listening.
Yeah.
Appreciate it.
Yeah, we didn't get to touch on, look, there goes perfect timing. There goes the light.
The gods have spoken.
Yeah, they're all right. Shut up. You said enough.
So funny.
But we could have touched on a lot. And again, so you're a pole instructor. You're an ambitious music manager. So many other awesome things. So for the people, let them know where they can find you and connect with you.
I am a very personal person, but if you watched this, then I invite you to come and journey alongside me. I am Pixie Goddess Roxie, one word, on Instagram.
Yeah, and I'll have all that down there.
And I am like very, it's not a public, page.
Yeah.
But if they're watching this, then it's okay. Yeah.
They're the right ones.
Yes. You're called to be here today.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
For sure, dude. Well, thank you again, Roxie.
Yes, give me a hug.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
For sure.
Your doggy.
Little Blade.
Okay, let's go party.
Party. Peace. Love y'all.
How funny.